Hey there. So just a quick little tips video for today. With Season 6 coming up, I'm holding off on some of the videos because I don't want them to be irrelevant in 2 weeks from now when the meta gets exploded when Season 6 drops. So that's why I've been posting a little bit less recently. Don't worry though, once Season 6 does drop and the meta stabilises a little bit, I'll be updating all 5 of the role guides and the beginner guide for Conquest, plus starting all the Season 6 god guides and all that kind of stuff, so stay tuned. But for today, as you may have seen, I'm counting down my top 5 picks to look out for in Season 6 that I personally think will storm the meta. Given I've barely been able to play PTS yet because it's been down a lot and I simply haven't been able to get a game, some of these might be complete trash, but I've definitely got a good feeling about these 5, so in no particular order, let's dive right into it. Number 5, Solo Lane Aokwang. Okay, this first one up here is a little bit of a wild card. I'm not 100% sure this will be a thing, but Solo Lane Aokwang is definitely on my list for potential meta breakers. Due to the changes he's had to his passive, plus his inherent execute means he can likely survive, hold his own in solo lane, build tanky-ish, and then play off of executes late game rather than pure burst like a jungle Aokwang might do. For those unaware, Aokwang's new passive in Season 6 will heal for 5% of his max health every time he hits an ability on a god, requiring he has his passive up of course. It also takes 2 seconds off of the ability you cast, which is a nice bonus as well. His passive stacks once every 20 seconds up to 3 times on his sword. So already at the start of the game, you're sat on 15% extra health basically, and from there you can just keep sustaining in solo. Plus every time you're back, you're going to come back to lane with probably at least 2 stacks, maybe 3. Combine that with a chalice that you're refreshing every time you're back, and it could actually have a lot of reliable sustain. Solo lane Ao had trouble before because his only inherent sustain required you to execute people with your ultimate to get lifesteal, something that rarely happened in solo lane unless you were really fed compared to jungle. So having this on-demand sustain in his passive rather than tying it to his ultimate means he can compete with other warriors and guardians for sustain. The fact that the heal is percent health based as well plays even more into building Aokwang tanky for teamfights. In the no boots 6 items meta, which I'll talk about later by the way, it's probably realistic for tanks to hit 3k HP, so 5% of that is 150 heal. So if you engage in a teamfight with your passive full, you effectively have 450 extra health. Plus if you do manage to execute someone in a fight, it will fully refresh the passive for 3 stacks for another 450 heal. Could be pretty insane in my opinion. And number 4 is just straight up Baccus in anywhere really. Yeah, this is probably the most normie entry on the list. I think a lot of people are expecting a big splash from our favourite drunk fat man this season. Fact is, Baccus' early game is now one of the best of all guardians, simply because chug is available at level 0 with no point investment. You can easily chug in base, then once more when you get to lane just to keep you topped up and have that full passive effect on demand right from level 1. That is crazy. So the specifics of what he's getting here that he didn't get before is 30 power, which equates to about 20 or so extra damage on all his abilities, plus about 6 on his basics. Not much, but it does add up when you're repeatedly casting abilities in lane and boxing people. He also gets 14% damage mitigation, so pen doesn't affect that at all, straight up 14% less damage, meaning he can tank waves and go aggressive and just be overall more resilient early on. Since he is a very aggressive support, having that extra defense on top of the power is obviously nice. But the big thing here in my opinion is that all the bonus effects he gets on the rest of his kit. So he now has that on-demand stun on his 3 and the slow and knock up on his 2 at level 2. He's going to be super scary through the early levels now for sure. He will be using more mana than before, but it should be manageable. It's only 35 mana now every time he uses it at all ranks. So 35 mana just to every now and then to keep yourself smashed shouldn't be too bad. Buy an extra mana pot and or CDR boot and you should be good to go with this pick. Hell, he might even creep into solo lane a bit with these changes. So yeah, keep an eye out for Baccus this season. Number 3 is Hercules. Okay, this is a more personal one because I really want Herc to be good this season. With the return of warriors and a few other factors, I think we can make Herc great again. So with Warriors Blessing back to its former self and other factors like the Totem of Ku impacting solo lane, pressure gods, specifically warriors, seem like they're going to be making a return. Obviously, there is the direct Herc buffs in Season 6 as well that takes 20 seconds off of his ult cooldown as you rank it up. So late game, it's now realistically with full CDR, you might be able to get 2 ults off in a single fight. With full CDR, it's something like 36 seconds, something like that, really low actually, so you could probably get off twice per fight, making it more impactful than other warrior ultimates are. Since a lot of 90-second cooldown warrior ults, even with full CDR, won't go off twice per fight. However, there's also a couple of item changes that will also indirectly buff Herc as well, I think. Shield of Regrowth got a small price reduction and some extra regen stats. It's nothing crazy, but the item itself is already pretty good for Herc since it gives CDR health and the ability to Naruto run at your enemies when you press 3. No boots is a tough one to evaluate without experience. Yes, Herc can build more tanky because he can sell his boots, but whether or not that will offset the fact that carries can also build 6 damage items is hard to determine. That will probably need its own video to be honest. But yeah, Herc is looking strong along with a few other warriors this season for solo. Number 2, Blackthorne and Runeforged Hammer. Okay, I cheated. Number 2 has 2 items here and not a god pick, but they're definitely items that I think can shake up the meta as much as any god pick could. Season 6 seems to have mostly overhauled this tree, changing around most of the stats to be more damage focused than health focused, seemingly aiming them more at assassins that want a bit of health or warriors that want a bit of damage. So Blackthorne Hammer in my opinion was already a decent item in Season 5, definitely underrated towards the later end of the season. The 400 health is really hard to overstate on this item, plus with Season 6 it's getting straight up 10 more power, which is always nice. And the shift in the transition on the passive, so the mana regen only activates at 25% mana now, not 50%. So effectively you have the CDR more often on this, so realistically in a fight you can probably just take this as 10% CDR now without worrying about it. You're rarely below 25% mana in a fight and still wanting to take that fight. But not only that, Blackthorne's tier 2, Shillelagh, no longer costs 1500, it's been moved down to 1300, making it more available to build into, maybe even as a first item in solo lane or something, though don't hold me to that, since you can get at least 4 potions with it now, plus it has 5 more power, which is always nice. Runeforged also got similar treatment, trading 50 health for 15 power. Definitely a trade in the item's favour, I think. It could be picked up now on assassins or warriors with heavy CC chains, maybe like a Thor or a Chak with the slows could use this. Having a 15% boost to your entire Thor combo and double tap is always welcome. Alright, my final pick for Season 6 is also one that probably a lot of people are expecting. Cali with no boots. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the no boots meta is coming in Season 6. With the introduction of the Elixir of Speed, in the hyper late game we can sell our boots, keep the movement speed, and buy a 6th full item. That's where Cali comes in, the quintessential hyper carry. Cali with 5 items is scary already, Cali with 6 is going to be a terror to behold. Granted it might not be enough to bring her into top tier just on its own, but I can guarantee she'll be stronger than she has been throughout Season 5. There are a lot of factors that go into making a meta where Cali is strong, but I think Season 6 is as good a time as any for her. As long as Cali can safely make it to late game and get a 6 item build, she can have boots movement speed, plus like katana, maybe even stone cutting sword movement speed as well, plus loads of damage and pen through the typical kin size executioner and the like. So keep a lookout for Cali in Season 6 if it shapes up to be a late game focused meta early on. Alright, that's it for me on this one. As I mentioned earlier, this is just a quick one while we wait on Season 6 to actually drop and I can start pumping out the Season 6 guides. There's not much point in making Season 5 guides anymore, they're not going to go anywhere. But anyway, drop a like if you did enjoy this one and subscribe for more stuff exactly like this a couple of times a week. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, you nerds.